We're talking toasted ravioli on Comic Book Canon. Damn, I messed that intro up. It's not fried, it's toasted ravioli, and we're going to talk more about that, and you'll have an understanding why when we talk to our very special potential guest co-host. But I'll just bring in, my good friend, partner in crime, and co-host of the show, Joseph. What's the three about? What's up?
Three words. 3 words into the show. That's how long it took you to make a mistake. And then I just made a mistake already. So we're off to a bad start.
We really are. We're not perfect. We're humans, right? And people need to give us some grace, and people need to give us some understanding, and actually just more respect than we usually get around here. You definitely get your money's worth. We give you more than you pay, actually, every single week. So again, cut us some slack, people. Toasted ravioli, not fried. Come on, Jeff. Chris will not be joining us tonight. He is, I can't remember. He's good, but
he's spelunking in Eastern Ethiopia.
He is. He has one of the hard hats on with the big light. And a rope.
Very large light.
Yeah. And
bunch of carabiners.
Yes, absolutely. He's got one of those axe picks too.
Yeah. More pouches than 90s Deadpool.
Yes. Anyway, I think we should just move on to the show because we are just bombing tonight.
We're talking about things, that's for
sure. We do have a very special guest on tonight. I'm excited to bring him on. If you all saw the thumbnail there, it's Drew. Good friend of you, Joe, and I just met him. I think he's a wonderful human being.
Awesome guy. We've known each other for many years now. Had some interactions via the internet, and he's always posting good stuff. So check him out. We'll bring him on in a little bit, but first we got to talk about the news.
Let's get to it. I made a protein shake. That's my dinner tonight. It's got blueberries, mango, strawberries, banana.
This isn't the news powder. Care about.
Oh, yeah. Let's get to the news. The news. It's an interesting mixed bag here of the news. Why don't we just get into it right now? How about it?
Let's talk about it. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about Captain America. With less than 11 months to go until the 4th installment in the Captain America franchise hits theaters, the name has been changed. Originally billed as New World Order ever since it was first announced. A picture and caption from our new Captain America, Anthony Mackie, announced the new title as Brave New World. Coincidentally, my local comic shop is called Brave New Worlds, and they're joking about it being free publicity for them. But anyway, the picture that Anthony Mackie posted, including newcomer to the MCU, Harrison Ford, who is taking over for Thaddeus Ross after the passing of actor William Hurt. And no matter what the name is, I'm sure we're all excited for Sam Wilson's first time to shine next spring.
And look how quickly I got that up because it was not ingested into our system. And
go.
Seamless. Look at that. You got Anthony Mackie, you got Harrison Ford, you got the new Brave New World logo on the back of their director's chairs. Mackie looks like he's pumped about something. Harrison Ford looks like he's critiquing something. So I'm psyched. I'm absolutely psyched. This film is going to be amazing. Obviously with the potential of what? The Red Hulk, all that. Oh, the leader's coming back. What else? We got.
Yeah, we're definitely getting the leader. We're getting Sabra. I know she's showing up for sure. And a couple characters that have been around for a while are going to be in the film as well. Obviously, this is our first chance to see the new Captain America. And Sam Wilson. Anthony Mackie has done a phenomenal job as Sam Wilson over the last 10 years at this point. Actually, probably more than that. Jeez, but I'm so stoked for that movie, and I am not a Cap fan. Cap is pretty low on my tier list as far as Marvel characters go. But that being said, Captain America: Civil War and Captain America: Winter Soldier are quite literally my 2 favorite MCU movies ever. So, we'll go from there.
We're also going to have the second Falcon. What is his name? Danny Ramirez or
the actor? I don't know the actor's name.
Anyways, he's going to be on there as well. Potentially the Serpent Society. That's the rumor. It sounds like it's going to be a big movie, but you're right. The second Captain America, third Captain America, outstanding, and the Russo brothers really brought it. That's where they made their mark in the MCU. But we're going to move on from the MCU and go somewhere else right now, which is the DCU, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah, the new DCU.
That's correct. What do you got?
Yeah, so during the first wave of DCU announcements, James Gunn pulled the Authority seemingly out of left field in a move that really surprised everyone. But this week, we received another update detailing the anti-hero team's appearance in the flagship film of the new DCU, Superman Legacy. And whether there will be like major players and a big part of the film, or just like a mere cameo to introduce them before they get their own project, it's still yet to be seen. But with a team as dynamic as they are, anything's possible. James Gunn, he did such a great job with Peacemaker, and Peacemaker is kind of a similar character to the Authority in the fact that they want to make the world a better place, but they'll go through some, maybe unnecessary things to achieve that, or some things deemed like morally irresponsible to achieve that. So I think the fact that he did Peacemaker really well is a sign that he'll do the Authority really well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if first of all, the two ways that they go about dishing out justice, Superman and the Authority, are completely
right. They could be the villains. They could literally be the villains of the movie.
It's going to be interesting, but they did have that series a couple of years ago, Superman and the Authority. So who knows? I find this very interesting. I like how they'll be introducing new characters within, the Superman. It's going to be the Temple. It's literally starting the James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited, and these books, they dried up quickly. The Authority #1, and also I can't remember what the first appearance of Midnighter and what's
that was Stormwatch 4.
Yeah, those
2 of Stormwatch, I think.
Those are hard to find now, but they still could potentially be in dollar bins. Like, people pass those things over easily. So
yeah,
keep looking here. Absolutely. But again, I'm psyched. I'm absolutely psyched. You saw The Flash. We can get into that a little bit later. I'm psyched to see that as well.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for the things that are going to be coming with DCU, because James Gunn has proven himself what he can do in that world as well. Oh, look at our friend Josh. Josh is in on the loop on all that. Casting is happening next week for Superman. That's good to know. Very good. All right.
Been some fun on it.
We have one more. We have 2 more pieces of news. This one's not so great. Let's just get into it.
Yeah. This news is very fresh. I didn't hear about it until this morning when I was at the flea market, popped up in a little news thing. So there's not a lot of information. We're going to keep it brief here, but Wakanda Forever actor Tana Huerta, who played Namor the Submariner, was accused of sexual assault via Twitter over the weekend. This comes just a few months after his fellow MCU actor Jonathan Majors was accused of physical violence against a girlfriend. And as of now, this is all the information available. There was a tweet. I don't think there was any response. There certainly was no legal action taken. But we as a comic book canon family cannot stress enough that abuse in any form is never okay. So we're gonna have to wait and see what comes of this.
Yeah, as Joe said, not much detail, and people are innocent until found guilty. So let's keep that in mind as well. But it's kind of ugly how these things keep popping up. It's obviously not right. We do not condone any sort of harassment, abuse, or what have you. And it's unfortunate we're seeing these things play out in such a public forum. Actually, just that they're happening in general, like whether it be a public forum or not, it's despicable. So, but yeah, so we're gonna pivot real quick to another piece of news, and this is regarding us. Nothing illegal here, though. I promise you. We will not be live next week. We'll not have a show next week. Next week is Father's Day, so we want to all be able to enjoy our families and take a night off. That being said, Fresh from the Comic Shop will continue. We'll get our last semifinalists of June, so please continue to send in your Fresh from the Comic Shops this coming up week. for next week, and we'll be sure to pick the fourth semifinalist of the month of June. We're gonna pick the third one.
I just can't believe that you put up that picture. Not only promoting underage drinking, but that's like either an issue or two before Pa Kent dies. Jeez, man.
Well,
you're harsh.
First off, I'm not promoting underage drinking. Who's underage there? Who's underage in this picture?
Superman.
He is not underage there.
Yes, he is.
Next.
That's the whole reason that the cover was recalled, because his character was underage.
I thought it was just because of alcohol in general on the cover of a Superman comic.
That is what I was told. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that is what someone told me as to why it was recalled. But I could be wrong. But either way,
I could be wrong. Look at how we respect each other, everybody. I could be wrong too, Joe.
I'm texting you. I just texted you saying you're wrong, you idiot, dummy.
You idiot. But also the memories though that they have together, that's important. Anyways, we won't be live next week.
Yeah,
this is really awkward. Let's just move on to the next segment. That's the news. Again, we won't have news next week because we're not live. We won't have a show, but we'll be back the following week. But why don't we just introduce this charming young man we're going to have on the show this evening?
Wait, hold on a second. You forgot to say hi to all the people in the chat.
I did. Time out. And somebody else is really nagging us to say hello as well.
Who's that? Oh, God. Him?
Yeah.
Put him on.
The illustrious title of show correspondent. How truly fortunate I am to be bestowed with such a prestigious role. I can already feel the envy emanating from you hosts as I grace your presence with my biting wit and unparalleled charm.
I don't like him. I don't like him.
No.
Anyways, let's just say hello to these wonderful people, though. Supreme Love, definitely commenting on Chet right there. I know what that means. We got Raw Dog Comics. We got Dan De La Torre. What do you mean? You got plenty of stuff to do. You can do your martial arts. You can watch the Giants play. I bet you they have a game.
He could also watch Pope of Chilitown Sunday sermon. That's an important thing to do on Sundays.
Exactly. You got well. It's really early his time. It's like 6 a.m.
YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO indeed. We got Josh's Comics. We mentioned him. We got T-Shoe. How's it going, T-Shoe? Caleb Leland, a.k.a. Cable Leland. Dr. Frankenstein. One of our favorites because she's your wife. Joe's already in his Lex Luthor cosplay. Get it? Because he's bald. That's your wife right there. Yeah. Tony Trombetta. We'll be talking about his company a little bit later in the show. Jordan Nori. Hello, sir. T-Shoe. We got Nikita Kare. Goonish Lurker. I love his name, by the way. Fat Dad Comics. Who else? We got 360 Comics.
That's me.
That's you. Who else do we have? We're ready to party here. Super happy. Yeah, I'm excited to be here on a Sunday. It's wonderful. So with that being said, why don't we just bring on our potential guest co-host pending the interview, shall we?
Pending the interview. Very important to
yeah, we have to prepreface that. Why don't you just introduce this wonderful young human being?
So today we've got Drew. Drew and I, we've known each other from afar for quite a long time, multiple years, and we met through a mutual love of hardcore music, and that community is very similar to the comic book community in a lot of ways. Particularly that people from all over, not just the state or the region or the even the country, but all over the world, get to know each other through a mutual interest. And it's cool that we connect on that. We connected on comics, and I spent time as an elementary school teacher. Drew himself is a teacher. And one of the things that really struck me about him is that he uses comic books in his lesson plan. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. And then the real cool thing that we're also definitely going to talk about is that Drew co-wrote a Justice League video game that was released just this year. And I'm sure he's got some cool, experiences to talk about from that. So let's bring him on, Drew.
And let's explain real quick. I gave the toaster ravioli reference because you hail from St. Louis.
Oh, I didn't mention that. Yeah.
And that's synonymous with St. Louis, just as cheesesteaks are synonymous with Philly.
I'm really glad that it's toasted ravioli. Around the way here, we call them T-Ravs. I'm glad that the T-Ravs are synonymous with St. Louis and not St. Louis style pizza, because that stuff is garbage and it's horrible. It's the worst.
Yeah,
People here pretend to like it in the same way that they like pretend to still love their wife that they've been married to for like 16 years. But no.
Drew tells it like it is. He's coming in hot. We love it. But here's the deal. You are not guaranteed to continue on with this show because you must first pass the interview. By the way, I just want to we did not do this intentionally. Izzy versus New York City Comics. We did not mean to miss you, as well as What's Up, Sweater Dude, and Raw Dog, and who else did we? And Phil Ailing. So again, guys, this is not intentional. We don't have any sort of like vendetta against you, or what's the word I'm looking for? You guys are both. Well, Joe was a teacher, but you know what I'm talking about. All right. So let's just do this. Let's just get into it. Drew, I do have to ask you. I want to take like a temperature check here. How nervous are you? Scale 1 to 10.
Oh, I'm not nervous at all. I've never been nervous about anything in my life.
It's funny because most people who are deathly afraid of this, that's exactly what they say. So let's get into it. Joe.
Yeah, so we got some questions for you pertaining to a couple different topics, and we'll just hop right into it. Be careful, because if you answer these questions incorrectly, we might have to kick you off the show. We may give you a second chance. We may not. We may not have a co-host tonight. We'll have to see. So, let's kick this thing off with a music-related question. We talked a little bit about, how you and I met through mutual love of a certain type of music. This one's a little bit more general. Who is the greatest musical artist to ever hail from the city of St. Louis?
Chuck Berry.
Oof, that was really quick, right?
He just said Chuck Berry.
Here.
Right? Listen, if you want to go and take a ride with comic book canon, you got to say the right answer, and that answer is Nelly. Easily, hands down. You can't go to a wedding or a high school prom. Not that I've been to many high school proms recently, or any event where there's music and not hear one of the hits that Nelly had in the early 2000s, even 20 years later. Chuck Berry, that guy's okay, but let's be real, Nelly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know where the real talent comes from. By the way, remind me to tell you about my Nelly story. We'll take care of that after the show, though. It's quite wonderful.
You got a Nelly story?
Oh yeah, it's good.
All right. Well, you know what, Chuck Berry, that was. I don't want to call it adequate. I don't want to give him that much, but that was close.
Chuck Berry is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in the upper echelon. Not he's not Nelly status, but let's give the guy a second chance.
Time out. Dr. Frankenstein, ridiculous. Joe is my co-host. He's my teammate.
Kick Joe off.
Kick Joe off?
No.
No, we're gonna. Yeah, no.
I've been kicked off the show more than anyone has ever been kicked off.
No, Dan De La Torre probably has that record. All right, Drew. Yeah, I know, man. It happened. But we're gonna give you another chance because you have a wonderful personality.
Yeah, we'll try this again with a second question.
And you told us about T-Ravs, like the
T-Ravs. I did like that. Yeah. All right, so we'll move on. This one's a little bit music related and a little bit comic related, so we're gonna throw the two together.
Okay.
Both of us share a love for the work of famed comic creator Alan Moore and 2000s Baltimore hardcore band Ruiner.
Yes.
So gun to your head, which one of those do you erase from existence?
Holy cow.
Am I erasing them like completely from history? Like nobody ever knew about them?
Yep.
Do I still remember them?
No.
Let's just say no.
I don't. Okay, I don't remember them at all. So
time out. No, I would say yes, because you're the reason that none of this artwork or this person existed, but you remember that. So that's the pain you have to hold for the rest of your life.
Sure, you're gonna remember
like that. Yeah.
So then I eliminate Alan Moore and write all of his ideas.
Fuck.
That's a good one, but that is not the answer that I had written as the correct answer. So we have to kick you off. The correct answer was the only correct answer was to acquire a ninja skill set, disarm the person holding said gun to your head, and then dispose of their body in a creative way, a way that Alan Moore might write. or a way that Ruiner might write a song about.
Any sane individual would have came up with that answer.
That is the only possible answer. You had, again, an okay answer. It didn't quite hit the mark. Might have been like a D- answer, like just barely squeaking by passing. So for that reason, yeah, we'll try one more question for you, Drew.
Oh, we're gonna bring him back?
I mean, I guess we have an off week next week. If we have no co-host tonight,
here's the deal. This question, yeah, it means a lot.
Okay.
Everything's riding on this right now, Drew.
Okay.
So
2 out of 3 people right in this virtual box here. It means a lot for sure.
Yes. So for me, as a Pennsylvanian, specifically in the Philadelphia area, and to you, a Missourian, someone from the state of Missouri, how much did the Kansas City Chiefs pay the referees in Super Bowl 57? God damn it, tell me the answer.
I read comics. I don't know shit about football.
Oh, good answer.
I kind of accept that answer, honestly.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about sports.
I was expecting things to get hostile in here, but wow.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were into sports or not. But I put the question because you are from Missouri, and a Missouri team did just beat. Let's be real, beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So
is that what happened in February?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the Chiefs and the Eagles, and the bad refs. But,
I mean, we had the Rams when I was a kid, and that was the last time I pretended I knew anything or cared about football at all.
Oh yeah, that Rams team with Kurt Warner.
Yeah, they made all
go on turf.
They made all those movies about him being super religious.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
I just knew him as a football player.
There's one where Shazam plays him.
Yep, that was this past holiday season I came out. Interesting comments here. As a Giants fan, I'm so heartbroken by your loss. I'm sure that's sarcasm right there.
Yeah, I can't tell.
I may be off. And this is just, we relish in this.
Yeah.
All right, but we're actually not sorry at all. We think this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Well, Drew, congratulations. You're moving on to become a guest co-host of Comic Book Canon. You are entitled to one of those beautiful, beautiful varsity jackets that we designed as an alumnus of Comic Book Canon. Once you finish the show, we'll never produce them, but just think about this. If we ever do, you're entitled.
Okay. All right.
Well, you are welcome. Congratulations on that. We are not going to have props or flops this week. Chris has some things he's going to tweak a little bit with that, but we will definitely, all of the submissions that are left that you have, sent in, we are absolutely going to use every single one of those. We promise. But I think what we're going to move into right now, Joe, Drew's vocals, what would you consider his vocals to be falsetto?
I would not call them falsetto. I would not.
Okay. Let's just give it a shot.
Unless Drew has some falsetto vocal talent that I'm not aware of.
Listen, Drew, you don't know what we're doing. Just follow along.
Okay.
Ready? Ask Joe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got a little wild there at the end, Jeff.
Yo, I did that on purpose. It's like when you listen to the records, they have more character that hisses and pops and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Off key is wonderful.
Flies into the needle, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So right here, right now, we have questions from our audience to Joseph. He's here for all of you to answer those questions. And I think we have one right here. Don't know what it says. I just saw hashtag Ask Joe. How do you handle sellers that play games and pull valuable books out of a collection they showed you in photos before you get there?
Yeah, so this was
from good friend Bond, Paul Bond.
This was a question that Paul. This is a story that Paul told me a little bit earlier today. Unfortunately, it happened to him. He got some pictures, agreed on a price, drove 2 hours, showed up, and the most expensive book in the lot was not there anymore, and she quote unquote couldn't find it. Without telling Paul's whole story, I will talk about my experience with this. I have had people try to do that. I've also gone and seen a collection, made an offer on it. The person said, okay, I'm going to field some more offers. Apparently I was the best offer, so they called me back. And when I went back, I said, okay, let me just make sure things are all there. And they're like, oh, I didn't touch anything. And of course, scanning through, the ASM 252 is not there. The Secret Wars 8's not there, whatever it may be that was pulled out. Unfortunately, there are not so nice people out in the world, and they will try to do things like this. I have a policy that even if I make a stone cold offer to someone, and even if it's an hour later that they call me back and try to accept it, whatever, I always will go through again, just double check, make sure everything was likely there. Especially the bigger books, the bigger books are always going to be in my head. So I always have a policy that I always reevaluate. The fact that you drove so far, Paul, that is, you really, unfortunately can't get around that in this situation. So, it's a best of luck to you in the future kind of thing, but definitely double check, especially if it's a post online about comics or, you're going back for the second time. Just be vigilant, be careful. Not everyone out there is, an honest person.
But there's nothing you could do about that time. You're not getting that time back. And if they don't, if they said that they wanted to pull that out, there's not much you can do. And that sucks. It absolutely sucks.
Part of, doing this, whether you're doing it like as a business or for your PC, you're going to have wins and losses. You're going to spend all morning going out to yard sales, and you're going to strike out and get crap or nothing. You're going to have situations like this where you don't get the books that you thought you were going to get or whatever it may be. These things are going to happen, but hopefully those big wins, times you find the really cool collections, the rare books, something you really wanted, those overshadow the negative. So yeah, that's what you gotta focus on.
Drew, not sure if you're as diligent as Joe is in terms of like combing the whole region for collections that are for sale, but have you ever encountered something like this before?
I'm not a big, I don't buy collections at all. So, I honestly, I'm not really big on like buying older books anymore. I'm almost strictly like new stuff every week. There's going to be stuff here and there that like I come across, but it's only going to be like an issue or two, or maybe like, like something from a specific series or something like that. But yeah, I'm not in a position where I'm going to be like buying entire collections from somebody.
Interesting. Paul is, but again, that you're just, it happens. I think it's part of it's part of doing business, unfortunately.
If something like that happened to me, I would fight somebody. That's what I would do.
I mean, You're driving an hour away. It is kind of BS, for sure. We don't recommend you fighting people though, unless you're going to win.
You have to win
and get those books. All right. A Supreme Love. Joe, what PC book will you send to CGC next?
So I'm on a hold from sending PC books to CGC right now, because that is just, it is right now, like I need to kind of keep the inventory flowing a little bit more, because I've got a lot of collections coming in, a lot of things in the pipeline, including some more expensive collections. So it's going to be a little bit until I start sending personal collection books in. When I do, I've got to think that those books that I showed off last week, that the Batman number 19 from 1943 and the Detective Comics number 68 from 1942, those have to be in like the first batch of stuff that I send in, just because of how old they are, how rare they are. I want to preserve those books. I already read them. I don't need to have them around to read again. I want to get those slabbed up to make sure that nothing happens to them, whether it's humidity or whatever it may be. So those will get slabbed up and go right in my safe. Those two are high on the list. There's a lot of books for my PC that need to get graded though.
Yeah. It seems that I think that's a good strategy too, by the way, for a few things. Getting it graded, obviously, with those golden age books will keep them safe and secure.
Oh yeah.
So you could turn them around. I did say two things, but that's the only thought I have right now. All right, next up, we got Josh's Comics, good friend of the show, and also likes to have everything spoiled for him when it comes to any sort of movie and TV show. I find it's insane, but that's how he likes to go into the theater, knowing exactly what happens. How do you deal with people selling books at slab 9.8 prices, but the books aren't even high grade?
So there's two types of people that do this. There's the people that want to get one over on you, and I just don't deal with them. Those are the people that, I will not buy from them. I won't watch their live shows if I see them, asking high prices over and over again. I don't walk over to their dealer table to look at their stuff because there's no point if it's overpriced. Then there's the people that are just not educated. There's the people that inherited comics from their uncle who passed away, and they put them on Facebook Marketplace. They look up, the eBay listing, and they see a 9.8 sold for $300. So let's put this up for $300 and see what we can get. And those people I usually try to educate, because, not everyone is knowledgeable about, the hobby, the financial aspect of it, all that stuff. So, I try to talk to them and tell them, that is the price of a graded 9.8. You have a mid-grade raw copy. These are more like, the comps, and I'll show like eBay sold listings. And if that person wants to try to get $300 for their book still, so be it. They can go do that. If they understand and if they are, really believe what I say, because they, don't have any reason to believe me if I'm a stranger, then, maybe I could work out a deal with them. Maybe I can end up buying the stuff. But yeah, it's something you usually just stay away from if it's a, there are some dealers out there that are still stuck in 2021 prices when the market was 40% higher. But
yeah, look, again, there's so many other options out there. Just avoid them altogether. Like, screw them. I mean, Drew, how do you handle? I'm sure you're just like you're probably not going to fight them over that, but you may. I don't know. But your thoughts?
I'd fight them. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of don't. I say this as somebody, like, I have some graded comics, but for me, it's like I'm not really going out of my way to buy graded comics.
Sure.
I'm like, I got stuff that I sent off, and I have things that other things that I would like to send off, and that's I don't know. I'm probably not gonna come across a time where like somebody's trying to sell me a slabbed book, and that's unless we're just talking about like raw books.
I think you may be talking raw books because you see something that they're like, oh, this is a guaranteed 9.8 is what he's saying.
So
but it's not.
Yeah, if that's the case, let's say I come across a book that like it's seen it's seen better days, and it's something I want, but they're like, yo, this is like, you got to give me $100 for this. I'm probably just going to pass it up.
Sure.
Don't, I'll find another one for like the right price eventually. And and then I'd fight the person.
I mean, but some people can be like, look, this is not a 9.8 right here. I will offer you this. They take it. Great. If they don't, be like, well, you're screwing yourself, but have a nice day. I could get it for cheaper somewhere else.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is that this is like the comic industry's not industry, but the secondary market for comic books, like best kept secret. Almost nothing is actually rare or scarce.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see this is a newsstand first appearance of Carnage, rare newsstand, scarce, low print run. No, that was 1991. The print run for newsstands was 20% ish in 91. And the print run for that book was several 100,000 copies, probably even nearing 1 million. So we're talking somewhere along the lines of 100,000 to 200,000 copies of that book that were printed. That's not scarce by any means. Even if 10% of them are left, That's still 10 to 20,000 copies. If we're talking a golden age book that you see come to market once or twice a year, that there's, 14 copies on the census or whatever, that's different. If that's what you collect, you got to hop on it when you see it. If what you collect is almost anything other than like indie books and stuff like that, they're probably not as scarce as you think. There's probably at least a few thousand copies out there in circulation.
It's just I see stuff like this, and like I see this stuff. I don't know how often you see this like out on the East Coast, but in the Midwest, like you might find a small town that has a comic shop, right? And they have like one shop, and then there's not another one for like miles and miles and miles away. And so like you'll go in there and they'll be like Spawn #1 for $100. Or Superman 75, like not even like in an open poly bag, and they'll want like $60 for it, or I've seen people try to sell X-Men #1 from the 90s for like high dollar, and it's just like they're clearly banking on a tourist coming in, not knowing the actual value of these books. Not knowing the print run of them, just knowing, I know what X-Men is, I know what Superman is, and then they can be like, yeah, it's a $70 book,
It comes down to educating. Yeah, it comes down to educating yourself. We have so many tools out there that are free. Even if you want to scan eBay and take like 5 prices that have sold already, and kind of combine the average on that, you'll have a good idea of what you should be spending on, what you can acquire this book for. And seeing a book like X-Men #1 for $50 or more is outrageous. But again, if people can get away with it, they're going to do it.
Seeing X-Men #1 for $10 is
right.
I mean,
I listen. This is what I do with that X-Men #1s. If it is pristine, if it looks like it's going to get a 9.6, 9.8, one of those grades, I mark it at $5, and every other copy goes right into my dollar bin, and people can pick them out for $1, to have even if it has one spine tick on it, it's going in the dollar bin. That being said, oh man, there was something else that I was going to say that was really important. Oh yeah, this is what it was. You were talking about, look on eBay. If you're not knowledgeable, ask someone who is. I had someone just today message me, someone that's followed me on Instagram. I've seen their name on commenting on my YouTube channel before, and they said, "Hey, can you help me out with this? I'm really looking to pick up this book. I'm not good with condition. I'm not good with grading, and I'm not good with pricing." And it was a Silver Age Batman book. And he sent me an eBay listing, and I looked at it, did a little bit of poking around, and I told him, don't spend more than $150 on this book. I think that is where you should cap out. If you really want it for your personal collection, go up to 150. Don't go above that. And it was at $107 at the time. So I'm going to check back in with him when that auction's over, and hopefully you'll have some good news from me, and he'll have gotten it. But just ask someone. Feel free to ask me. Message me on Instagram. Whatever. I'm around.
Joe will always help. Okay, we have one more question that I'm actually very curious about, because I love this. I do like this question, even though it's the second time this person's asking a question. And one comment before Ask Joe is over, and we have to sing ourselves out of this segment. Joe.
Yes.
How many copies of Wildcats 1 do you run into on a monthly basis? And I want to add to this question. If it's not Wildcats, what other 90s books? You know what I mean? That you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, so Wildcats 1 is definitely one that's up there. I think probably on average, there's some months that I pick up a collection and there's 20 copies of it. There's other months that I don't come across it at all. I think I would say on average, probably 10 copies a month.
Oh, so that's not bad.
It's not crazy. A lot of times I'm not buying, collections that were heavy 90s stuff, because there's so much of it out there. It doesn't sell very well. It pretty much goes right into the dollar bin. But yeah, I mean, that's one you come across a lot. Probably more so than any other ones, because the other ones I feel like are a little bit more sought after. Spawn #1 actually has value to it. spawns way more popular. Even Youngblood #1 has the distinction of being the first Image comic.
Right.
And for that reason, I feel like more people want that book than Wildcats one, which quite literally just ends up in the dollar bin everywhere.
Not surprised. What are your thoughts on 90s books, Drew?
I have a lot of thoughts on 90s books. I think most of them are bad. Like they're so many of them are so bad. I mean, like there's stuff from the 90s that I like here and there for sure, but like overall superhero books, I mean, I'm definitely like in the 80s Frank Miller, Alan Moore, British Invasion like era.
Sure.
So for me, it's like late 80s is what I'm really into. You get into that 90s and everybody's throwing like giant, weird, misshapen guns and, pouches everywhere and everything extreme.
And strange feet, strange looking feet.
Yeah. I was looking at, because Spider-Verse came out, right? And so people are like kind of interested in Spider-Man 2099 now.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at the foot on the cover of the original Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah, it ain't good.
Dude, he's wearing like a size 24. And then like I used to sell shoes, so like the width, it's like the skinniest width of a foot I've ever seen. It's crazy.
Who is it? The artist is what? Rick Leonardi?
Rick Leonardi, yeah.
Huh, interesting. I've never heard him having bad.
I'm not saying that I think it's bad as much as it's just very stylized, but like
sure.
You can look at that and see that's a product of its time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It was a time. I'll be honest. It really made an impression on me. I love the 90s books. I loved McFarlane. Loved him. I really like Liefeld. But over time, he's, you kind of grow out of that taste.
I'm the opposite. He has been blocked on Instagram.
I know
very sensitive.
I saw that happen.
He's very sensitive. So, but anyways, it was a time. I think there's a lot more good than bad. But and one more comment here before we end. Ask Joe, Paul Bond. I don't know if this is true. Thanks CBC for helping heal the wounds as I finished my 2-hour drive home at the red light. So if y'all remember, Paul was the one asking about what do you do when you go check out a collection, and all the stuff they said that was in there is not in there. So I hope that didn't just happen to you, Paul.
It did. He called me earlier. He told me when he was going to look at the collection and he was excited about it. And then there was a hiccup along the way, and then he got there and that happened. So unfortunately, he is currently driving. He should be getting home right about now.
Okay. Well, Paul, we apologize, but at least you have your 4-year-old son to welcome you home. I'm trying to make it, I don't know. Anyways, let's just say hello real quick to Sonia Jardine, who could possibly be our youngest viewer this evening at the age of 10.
Oh, woo, party.
Hello. Zoe, I do believe. All right. Oh, Paul just got home too. So that right there ends. Drew, you know the song, so please, we expect you to follow along. Ready? Ask Joe.
Yeah.
He got it. He nailed it. That's his signature. It's like a remix. Yeah. It's Drew's remix. It's wonderful. All right, we do our correspondent does this segment each and every week where he suggests his hottest picks of this Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. So here's Chet with his New Comic Book Day segment. It looks like he put a lot of effort into this too as well. So check it out.
Hey, comic book fans. It's your snarky influencer, Chet Geepot, with my picks of the week for June 14th. Brace yourselves. First up, Captain Marvel 50. It's the final issue of Kelly Thompson's historic run. Join the Carol Corps for a predictable conclusion. Yawn. Next, the Normals from Aftershock Comics. Your life was a lie, but it's still real to you. Fight to save your fake existence in the world. Good luck with that. Lastly, Wildcats 8. Grifter's our last hope to save a dying world. His team includes a mishmash of characters. Can they pull it off? Who knows? Who cares? That's it for this week, folks. This is Chet Geepot, keeping it sarcastic in the comic book universe.
He is kind of mailing it in at this point. I don't know. He's really upset that he's not a co-host at this point. Like,
yeah, well, listen, he's lucky we gave him the role as correspondent. And honestly, it wouldn't have gone to him if anyone else had applied for the job. But yeah.
Oh no, it wouldn't have. Yeah, it could have been anybody, but it had to be him. Anyways, more people are joining. What's up, Peter Thornton? How you doing? Yeah, I guess he did pick some Aftershock. So wow, you're actually giving him some props. Speaking of which, we all know props or flops is not happening this week. I want to remind everybody as well, we do not have a show next weekend as well. It is Father's Day, and Joe is not happy with the image I selected here. But you know what?
I hope I got to butt in here.
Go ahead. Your show too, Drew.
Joe, you are wrong. He is not underage.
No.
You can first of all, you can tell because Lois Lane is in the background, and he.
Thank you, Drew.
An adult.
Well done, Drew.
This is what I get for A, not reading any Superman content ever, and B, listening to what people tell me on the internet.
Yeah,
there you go.
Everything that anybody has ever told you about Superman, except for me, is wrong. Okay.
I got to admit something too to the both of you, and actually everybody watching. I didn't even realize it was the controversial beer cover. I just pulled it as he's hanging out with his dad as the first one that came up.
And his dad dies in like the next issue or like 2 issues later or something.
Can we do some research on that, people in the chat? Is that true? Joe's got.
Oh yeah, I'm probably wrong about this too.
Well, okay, but anyways, we're gonna move on to this segment we do each and every week. It's sponsored. It's fun. You get to share all your good gets. It's called. We'll wait for Joe to do his thing. It's called.
Oh, I think it is called Fresh from the Comic Shop.
Fly from the Preston Salon. That's right. Each and every week, we ask you, the audience, to send in your fresh gets, and you never disappoint. Fresh gets can be 2 days old. They can be 30 years old, but as long as they're fresh in your collection, we want to see them. What you do is you tag us on Instagram, the IG. You post your picture up there. Tag us, Comic Book Canon, 360 Comics, Jernos Comics. Excuse me. Use the hashtag Fresh from the Comic Shop, FFTCS. You'll see that with every image we bring up. Mind you, Instagram changed their little formula again, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to find you all. So even more important, tag the picture, not the description, the picture. And we'll have your fresh get up here each and every week. And not only that, you will be eligible. You'll be submitting to potentially win a wonderful, wonderful prize from the wonderful people at EGS Comics. The book of June is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Green Arrow #1, David Nakayama variant cover, 9.8. Joe, Drew, would you please notice the customized label on top, the green matching the green of the book? That's right, people. You can get customized labels from EGS. Good friend Tony Trombetta has been a wonderful supporter of our show, wonderful friend as well. So he's given us this deal as well. Save 5% off your EGS order using the code Canon5. Optional custom labels, free grader's notes, fast turnaround times. We do not put our names on products we don't believe in. We absolutely do believe in Tony and EGS. I have 2 of my most precious books in there. My daughter's comic book right there, the white one. And then this signed Stan Lee comic book in the middle over there. I just don't want to get them. Proprietary cases. They are a wonderful, 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 wonderful company. So guys, we're just going to get into fresh from the. Oh, before we do, actually, I just wanted to mention we had a semifinal face-off last week, and we have Raising Elm Comics over Tommy Boy Collections. It was a close one.
Wow.
I think 51% over 47. It was very close, but Raising Elm moving on to the finals again. Raising Elm has never won in a finals, but Justin, if you're in the chat, please let us know how many finals you've been in. I feel like it's been quite a few. Yeah, it really has. I mean, Justin again kills it. So Drew, One of your big responsibilities here on the show is you are going to judge and pick a semifinalist. The way you do that is we have 3 criteria we look at on the canon here. We got presentation. Give us a well-composed shot. Give us something that's outside the box, how the comic book maybe ties into the surroundings. Make sure you take the picture the way Joe was just doing. Look at the form. Do it again. I mean, look at that. That's just beautiful. Anyways, and again, a perfect example of that is our semifinalist winner, Raising Elm, the top one right there, where he looks like he has a cheesy 80s Happy Meal kind of advertisement there with the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book. Very creative, as always, from Justin. Second thing is unique. How unique is the book? Unique doesn't mean it's $30,000, but unique could be something that we've never seen before. And we've seen quite a few examples of those. Again, I say it all the time. Sketch comics are kind of something that, for me, hit a note because that's personalized to you. And finally, story. What does this book mean to you? Tug at our heartstrings. Tell us what it means to you. If it reminds you of a family member, if it reminds you of the book you first got as a 7-year-old and you just read it till it was just worn out and you had to go purchase it again, even though it's like $10,000 now. I'm just throwing it out there. Give us the story. Tell us. Pull at our heartstrings. It goes a long, long way. Now, Drew, you're going to be sharing your fresh gets this week as well. It's one at a time because a lot of people like, Joe, you've seen it. A lot of people like, oh, I got this one right here. I got this one right here. And I got this one right here. It's like, chill out. Okay. Chill out. I'm not accusing you of anything, Drew. I'm just making a point. So, yeah, that's fresh from the comic shop. What is in? Somebody asked what's in that. What's in there, Joe?
This is just water, but look at this straw.
Oh, that is dope. Hold on, Joe. That is sweet.
It's Deadpool straw. I think that was like a promotion at like 7-Eleven when one of the Deadpool movies came out.
By the way, I love where you're from. I love your accent. And you said water.
Water.
Yeah, it's water. You're drinking some water. So yeah, let's do this, guys. Let's just get into it. Drew, you better be ready. Okay.
Okay.
We're starting off hot and heavy right here, boys.
Take
Hot
some
and heavy.
notes. You'll need the notes.
Yep, the notes. And Joe has an algorithm to back you up, but that's okay.
I can't take notes.
Take mental notes.
Okay.
Don't worry, I've got the algorithm going.
Yo, Mark Leneker throwing words your way, Joe. I'm gonna have to stick up for you because there's no way in hell you would do this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm
out. Do you see this?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't go to 7-Eleven. This was like a promotional item that I was like, oh, cool. Let me go get that Deadpool straw.
Yo, everybody, back off, Joe. That's not fair. That is not fair.
I'm a Wawa boy all day.
Yeah.
I won't even set foot in the sheets.
I mean, Wawa doesn't sell out. They don't have those other than Schwarberfest, which is great, by the way. Yeah, it's sports in Philly, so it's great.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting distracted. Let's just get into it with Sicilian Comics here. Look at that, guys. I think you all know what that book is.
Whoa.
Finally, Hulk 181 in the PC. Beautiful book with popping colors. Definitely my biggest purchase and crown jewel of my collection. Infinite thanks to Main Street Comics, best comic shop in New Jersey. Without Mike, I would never have owned this book. I do believe that's a 7.5 right there. Green label, but still, hey, how many people own
Yeah, that's a book that is commonly green label. That's qualified, usually incomplete due to the Marvel value stamp being clipped out. So that
Yep.
If you're in the market for Hulk 181, great way to get it for a discounted price, and it still presents really nicely.
Yep. And I only know one person that owns a 181.
Who?
The gentleman that is to my, I think you're on my right.
Oh, me. Yeah. I feel like you know other people that have.
Does yours have the stamp?
Mine does have the stamp. I found mine in an attic like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One of the coolest finds I've ever had.
Some certain Sundays, I'll work at my local comic shop.
Yeah, I've seen you post about that.
And I was there earlier today, and we have a complete Hulk 181 that people always look at. It's I believe it's an 8.
Wow. Ooh. Mine got a 6, which was pretty good for being pulled from an attic and had no bag and board on it.
You didn't even expect to see that.
I did not. Man.
Yeah, so that's a nice little surprise. All right, Moving on, though, who do we have next? We have Into Oblivion. This is an interesting one. Plastic Man in Game of Death from 1943, the first total title series featuring Plastic Man. But this is a reprint from 1970. Still a pretty cool book, by the way. Pretty cool indeed, I'd have to say. Drew, what's up?
I just want to say about that. Does that the obviously this is a reprint, but the original printing does that predate Plastic Man #1? Because I know he's in Police Comics #1.
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Police Comics is where he debuted, but was this before his solo run in the Golden Age? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. That's a question.
I bet you Mark Lineker would know.
Mark Lineker might. Also, Collecting Dude is a huge fan of Plastic Man.
I haven't seen Collecting Dude in the chat yet tonight, but
he's too popular for us now. Working for Dynamite.
He's hanging out with people like Shane Victorino and stuff like that. I saw.
Yeah, he did. He posted a picture of them the other day.
All right, Drew. What is your first fresh get of the week? What do you got for us?
What do I have?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to. I'm gonna start off simple. And this is I picked this one mostly because it did come out this week, but it's also like I've just been really liking the series a lot. And that's the Poison Ivy book at DC right now.
A lot of people are saying that they like this series. Also, the variants are doing really well too. By the way,
those what is it, Jenny Friesion?
Yeah, those
are so
gorgeous.
Good.
Yeah, those variants are doing very well.
That's just the regular cover A,
standard covers, but
yeah, that was the cover A for that book.
This is the Jessica Fong cover. Yeah.
Okay, that looks really great.
Can we see that just up close?
I love it.
Yeah, that is nice looking. I love the bat symbol up the top there.
Yeah, it's great. I've been such a fan of this Poison Ivy series, and it kind of snuck up on me because I picked it up just because I'll pick that up as a new #1, and it was just like way better than I thought it was going to be.
Those are like wonderful surprise. You're like, oh my god, this is really good.
Ghost Rider right now is the same thing.
Ghost Riders, yes, absolutely. That is, I'm liking that series as well. But we're gonna move on to Cosmic Toby, because he was, as he says, I was filing away some books from today when I remembered about you, my amigos. I think that's his toys he's talking to. Comic book canon, fresh from the comic shop. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter 6 out now. So I think that there's a connection between the toys and the books. Yeah, I guess it's Turtles versus Street Fighters, but good, man. That's nice. It's looking very good.
Like it. Nice.
Yes, absolutely. Union Josh Comics. What do we have with Union Josh? Okay, let's go. My submission for Fresh from the Comic Shop this week and for Webhead Wednesday, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man 2, the third appearance of Miles Morales, the first appearance of Genki, a book that is the closest I can get to his first appearance at the moment, given the price. Yet this book had real charm. This is a real appreciation post for Miles, a character who has had the best movies in recent years. The first film had the greatest soundtrack of any movie, represented by the album on the right. Also going to throw out what I'm calling the Fresh from the Crepes shop. On the left are Miles Morales' Jordans from the Across the Spider-Verse movie. Shoes that fit the theme and color scheme of the character so well. I like to do posts like this with other facets of the character. Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm going to do my own thing. Miles Morales, let's see what you got. This is thinking outside the box, guys. This is a very nice setup, tying a lot of things in. I got to say, Sunflower, I love that song, Sunflower, Post Malone. My daughter loves it too. So from that soundtrack. But I like what Union Josh has done here. Yeah.
I don't know how outside the box that is because those shoes are clearly in the box.
Oh,
Drew, well done. You showed me up.
Thank you.
I like it.
I wish I could kick you off, but you're already an official guest co-host, and I can't.
Yeah, but I think I might have access to be able to kick you off.
You can.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna try it. Maybe we'll
Should
see
I
what
kick
you
myself
say.
Off. I don't. You could do the next one. I don't know. Well, we'll run through this. Oh, actually, what do you got for your second fresh get or your first fresh get of the week?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Ooh, my turn. Okay, so this is in the collection I picked up today. It was mostly modern stuff, a lot of Star Wars. There was one slab. I didn't pay a whole lot for the collection because, like I said, mostly modern stuff. But this book caught my eye, and I have a couple copies of this. This right here is The Rise of Kylo Ren, number 3. Now, this book has a lot of things going for it. It did spike up during the comic boom, but it has since come down significantly. And I think at this point, it's actually a pretty underrated book. It's got a great Clayton Crane cover. Which, that's cool. And it's not really in his normal like style, like of doing, characters like Venom and stuff like that. It's a little bit different, which is cool to see from him. It's an origin story of Kylo Ren, how he became that character, how, I almost said Ben Kenobi. Ben Solo became Kylo Ren. But the thing about this book that intrigues me the most is it's the first cameo appearance of Avar Kriss, who, if you don't know, basically the main character from the High Republic run that's going on right now. And I personally think that High Republic has a lot of legs to go forward. It's already a really popular run for, the comic book Star Wars fans. And if they ever adapt that into a movie or, a Disney Plus show or something like that, has a lot of potential. So this book, I'm personally keeping every copy that I get. I think I have, this might be my third one or something like that, but I think that this book has some legs on it.
I'm going to agree with you as well. Granted, Avar Kriss is in a hologram form of some sort because she's
it's a cameo. It's a cameo.
A few hundred years before, but that's the first time you see her, an image of her in any comic book. So phase 1 was about this certain era. Phase 2, which is finishing up now, is a few hundred years before phase 1.
Right.
So phase 3, which is coming out this fall, I hope everybody's following me. Phase 3 will go back to the phase 1 timeline, which is where they're going to concentrate on Avar Kriss. So those characters are going to be coming back. On top of that, the Acolytes, the Star Wars show, is about the end of the High Republic era. So you may see some of these characters on screen. I think there's been confirmation of a few, to be honest with you. Nothing about Avar Kriss, but I agree with you, man. That book, you could probably get at a reasonable price. It was hot for a while, but I'm sure I would get that before this fall, to be honest with you. All right, moving on. We got Marvel Man 616 Comics. Spectacular Spider-Man 98 Newsstand Edition featuring the first appearance of the Spot, Dr. Jonathan Ahn, who is the villain in the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse film. I mean, who knew that a bagel would have such an impact on a character?
Listen, the first back issue I ever bought out of the dollar bin was not this issue. It was issue number 99, the issue after this, which is the first cover appearance of Spot.
That's a great cover too.
Yeah, it's yellow background. It's got the Spot and the Spot and Spider-Man fighting on it. And it's basically a all yellow cover with a bunch of spots all over it. And his arms and legs are going through different ways, hitting Spider-Man. And that is one of the first comic books I ever bought, and certainly the first back issue I bought. I was only buying really new stuff off the shelf before that. This character has always been near and dear to me. So I'm really just unbelievably stoked to see him in a movie.
Yep. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, such a good movie.
And I can't wait. I mean, the next one's coming out. Hopefully, the writer's strike may have something to say about that, but hopefully next March, I do believe, is when it's coming out.
Well, I would think it's already written.
Yes, but they want to leave room for improv, and apparently there's some issues with that. Because I think the actors will get writing credit for that, and they're standing with the union. So
makes sense.
Illegal or kind of how you associate your, anyways, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Jacob Birch, aka Jacob Comics, went to Des Moines. By the way, this doesn't count, as I'll read here. Went to Des Moines Con with my son Donovan this week, and the most amazing thing happened. A vendor who I met last year remembered me and my son and asked us if we'd like to hold this amazing Fantasy 15. Obviously, the first Spider-Man, the nicest guy around, completely made my day and is a memory Donovan, his son to the left, will never forget. It was a beautiful day. Absolutely. Unfortunately, he didn't buy it, so it's not fresh in his comic collection, which I'm sure he would love to have. But still, a wonderful picture nonetheless. I think his son's freaking out because he doesn't want to put any sort of damage on that book. So I see Dad's making sure that thing is held secure.
Yeah, get that thing in a top loader.
I know. That is special though, for sure. All right. Why don't I just go, guys? I'm going to share my fresh gets.
Do it.
I was, it's nothing crazy. I'm actually going to show 3 at once, if that's okay. That's cheating, but I don't care. I was in the city this weekend. I spent some time in the city. It was quite fun. And I love going to Midtown Comics, the Astoria outlet. They have these dollar bin. You could be there for hours, and I used to do that for a while. Now I didn't have much time this weekend, but this right here, it was 50. It was the back. The dollar bin was 50% off, which if you don't know the math, would make it 50 cents a book. So I got some cool Fantastic Four books. They're all newsstands, which is cool. But this one right here is $3.83.
Jeff, I checked your math and it does work out 50 cents.
Thanks. Oh, you use the calculator?
I use my calculator on my phone.
I'm gonna
I pulled out my TI 83.
I'm gonna throw a little wrinkle in here. Here's 386. It's actually 99 cents, but they charged me 50. Did they take advantage of me?
It's just rounding. You round up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. And then 387. I like this cover here. It's got a little foil in it, huh? So I just picked those up. I thought they were
call them shiny boys.
Yeah, they're wonderful. So that's my first fresh get. And then the other ones are 50 cents too, but they're special to me. All right. Man, I sound like my daughter with her toys. Let's throw these out. No, they're special to me. Moving on. We got Josh's comics. What do you got, Josh? Oh, come on, guys. Right? Am I right?
Rhodey.
Iron Man 118. First appearance of James Rhodey Rhodes. Later becomes War Machine. Normally, most first appearances are expensive. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but I know I got it for less than $30. I can't wait to see the future of Rhodey in the MCU. If y'all don't know, Armor Wars, which was a series originally, is now a movie. My fresh for the comic shop submission for this week, and it's from our amazing co-host. I think he gave you a compliment. 360 Comics. That's you, Joe.
Oh, I sold him that? I don't even remember that.
Our amazing co-host, 360 Comics. Look at that. Wow. I'm not jealous.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Even though he likes to be spoiled. Drew, what's your second fresh get of the week?
All right, let me grab this here. This is a book that I've been reading for a while now, and it's going to take me forever to get through it. But it's the Sandman Mystery Theater Compendium 1.
Yes.
So anyone who knows me, because I will make sure you know about it. Neil Gaiman's Sandman is my favorite piece of fiction.
Wow!
Regardless of medium, I love it so much, and I know that that there are connections to Matt Wagner's kind of revamp of the Golden Age Sandman.
Yeah.
So they recently released this, and I had been just waiting for it to come out so that I could get a chance to read it. Never read it before, so I'm going through it for the first time. And it's very cool. It's very clearly like a 90s Vertigo series, crime series. Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. And
the cover looks awesome, by the way, and it looks like a meaty book, so it's going to take you a little while.
Yeah, and this is only the first half of it. I mean, there's this is about 1,000 pages.
Oh my God,
on its own.
And I love hearing again your favorite piece of fiction. What you said was what?
It's Sandman. Sandman.
In any media, I love hearing that too. By the way, it's a comic book, but people,
I mean, it is. I don't want to say that it transcends comics, because to me that sounds like I'm saying like that comics are a lesser form of media, and I don't believe that at all. I believe that comics are incredibly important to American history and American culture, and I would also say world history. But
that's true.
I love Sandman. I have I have 4 different copies of Sandman, in some form or another.
Yeah,
but it's fair to say it raised the bar of the medium, right?
Oh, absolutely,
In a different way. So that's fair to say.
Vertigo, I think Vertigo in general did.
Yeah.
I actually just bought a collection a few weeks ago that had the entire run of Sandman Mystery Theater, and I have never read it either. So now that you're saying this, I might actually keep that and read it, at least for the meantime, and then decide whether to sell it or not.
It is very cool. I don't want to, I don't think that it's like particularly innovative or anything like that. It's just like every arc so far. I mean, I'm still I'm in like the first 300 pages of this, so I've barely cracked a dent in it. But I mean, every arc is like 4 issues, and then it moves to the next one. Okay. It takes place in the 30s.
By the cover alone, it's definitely got that noir feel to it.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, like, to me, the main character, Wesley Dodds, when I hear him in my head, he's young Harrison Ford, like in Indiana Jones movies. Like, that's what he sounds like. But yeah, it's cool. Shout out to Jake at Comic Headquarters, which is my local comic shop. He's the one who convinced me to pull the trigger on that.
Nice.
Well, it sounds like a good thing you did, because that's going to keep you occupied for a little while.
Yep.
Oh, and before I forget this, I have to say this. We didn't talk about the video game at all, so we got to make sure we do that after Fresh from the Comic Shop. We'll talk about that before we sign off.
This is the first time I think Dr. Guillaume wrote video game, but this. Yeah, y'all stick around, because we are going to talk to Drew about his video game that he wrote the story for, and that is going to be exciting. I'm very excited for that, by the way. That is shame on us, Joe. Disgusting.
Yeah, I think we just
shame on you.
We got so excited to go to Ask Joe, I guess.
Yeah, we just care about ourselves and our segments. No big deal.
Ask Joe, ask Drew.
Yeah, no, you're only the guest, and we should, anyways. You deserve more respect. We're terrible. But you know who's not terrible? C to the G, because this submission I really like. This is, he says, busy week watching paint dry. Paint splatter is an art form. Had to get it just right. You can make the simplest things hard for yourself. Star Wars Darth Vader, black, white, and red. Tyler Kirkham, exclusive trade and virgin variants, just like the Art Adams cover. These battle damage Vader covers are a must. I mean, how cool is that? He made the backing, his background himself, and put the books on there. I appreciate that greatly. I think that's wonderful.
That is certainly very unique. I like it.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about. All right, next up we got P. Keel with some G.I. Joe books. Found 2 G.I. Joe number 9s with tattoos. Is this common? I don't remember them being in G.I. Joe number 9, fresh from the comic shop. Maybe this is something you could help with, Joe. As you can see, the tattoos are right there.
Are they the lakeside tattoos?
You can't really
see
what it is.
It looks like the lakeside ones, which that would make sense, because that was early 80s, and that was the same time that Fantastic Four 252 has tattoos in it, as well as the big one, ASM 238, First Hobgoblin. Those all have the tattoos, so I would assume that this is a 1983 book, and those are the lakeside tattoos. Let me do a quick little scan on the internet and see if that is the case.
And while you're doing that, we'll just get to the next submission here, and then we're going to go to your second fresh get of the week. We got Tree McGee. When the comic gods bless you, they do it in a big way. This was a book I've loved since I was a kid and regretted selling it in 2008. I've been chasing my forever copy for a few years, having owned and sold a 5.5. I purchased this raw as a 7.0, and after cleaning it myself and sending it to my presser, came back a 9.0. This book beats even my original copy I owned back in 2007. If anyone doesn't believe in the power of the press, this should make you a believer. I love the play on words right there, by the way. If anyone doesn't believe in the power of the press, that's fine. Joe, what have you found?
I am not finding any information,
which could mean that it's a rare book.
It might be like only certain ones got the tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to consult my GI Joe guy, which is Jeff, not you, Jeff. Jeff, who we had on recently, Comic Dunes.
Yep.
He was a guest recently. The guy has a GI Joe tattoo. He's all about the 80s nostalgia stuff, so he will probably be aware of that. And I'll have to check with him, and maybe I'll have an answer back next time.
All right, that sounds good. But what is your second fresh get of the week?
My second fresh get of the week is a very cool one. I bought a collection yesterday that was mostly modern stuff with some trade paperbacks. I didn't pay a lot for it, but when I got home, I discovered this book that I was not aware of. Now, there's a lot of horror adaptations and stuff like that, especially, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are all very popular. This is one of them that I had not heard. This is called Halloween Night Dance. And what really turned me on to this book and made me realize that it's actually really hard to find is that I looked it up, and it apparently is a 1 in 100 variant with this awesome cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. And
that's a dope cover. That is
was not aware yet. So there's I think they used this cover, like a colorized version of this cover, for the second printing, but this black and white variant was the 1 in 100, which I have to imagine that this print run was not super huge.
No,
because it's Halloween.
What's the publisher too?
DDP. I don't remember.
Diamond Dallas Page?
Not Diamond Dallas Page. I don't know.
Is it like that? Doesn't he?
No, not that guy. Let's see. Devil's Due Publishing. Don't even know. Devil's Due Publishing. When did this come out? 2008. I was graduating high school that year.
1 in 100, huh?
1 in 100 variant. Yeah. And actually it says on the barcode, it says incentive, but it doesn't say 1 in 100, but either way, freaking cool. I love Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yes.
And this is
legend.
I'm probably going to keep this one for myself.
Definite legend. I have an update from one of our trusted friends here on the show, Mark Leneker. He says, yes, G.I. Joe 9 did have copies with the inserts and those without.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we get more information from Jeff to see, what kind of what we're looking at in terms of is this kind of
a print run? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look at this. Justin's in the house. Just letting you know, Justin, you are moving on to the finals yet again.
Woo!
Your Guardians of the Galaxy submission. All right, who do we got? We just did PK Chi McGee. We're gonna do Raising Out. Look at this.
Wow.
Raising Out, just as he says, howdy, y'all. He's got this big bushy beard. He lives in Texas. We love you, Justin. What is it though? What is it? What do we have? He is not eligible to move on. We can't have the finals. Justin versus Justin.
Justin versus Justin.
Who'd win? But this is still excellent nonetheless.
Wow.
Howdy, comic fam. I found a very interesting book in a Walmart 3-pack this week. The new Fantastic Four issue #1 variant cover. Not only is this an awesome cover and an interesting read, I'm already a few issues deep, but it is also an epic team-up. Additionally, it continues the story arc from Fantastic Four issues 347 through 349, where those heroes had to lend a hand. Get it? You see hands there. A hand to Marvel's First Family. It reminds me of the chats my childhood friends and I would have about who would be on your superhero team. For me, it was always Daredevil, the Punisher, Wolverine, and Professor X. Which heroes would you all pick for your superhero squad? Much love, comic fan. That's just adding Professor X into the mix there. It's a unique mix. But this looks like Art Adams did the art for that arc, which was so back then outside the box, like having Wolverine, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and the Gray Hulk as the Fantastic Four, but definitely a classic. Classic cover.
Am I remembering the story right? Like a Skrull disguises themselves as Invisible Woman, and recruits these four to be the new Fantastic Four team.
I don't remember. I gotta go back and read that.
Yeah, the Skrull tells them that like Reed and Johnny and Ben were killed, and they need to make a new team. I think that's the story. Maybe I'm confusing that with something else, but
I don't know.
I feel like that's the story. It's very cool arc.
And this again probably would have been considered as a semifinalist this week because he added all those hands. And anyways, that's great. Guys, I'm going to do my second fresh get of the week. I don't care what you say. So special to me means John Byrne. I don't know. I mentioned him a lot. I love his art. I love his art. And this was in the dollar bin. It's actually 99 cents, Joe. Sorry for confusing you. Alpha Flight number 17.
Oh, with that homage cover.
Right?
Which one really cool thing about this is that, you know, Dave Cockrum did the original art on the first bunch of issues by Chris Claremont, and then John Byrne took over. And John Byrne took over, I believe it was just after this issue came, the issue that this is homaging came out, which was X-Men 109.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know.
Wow. So it's Byrne homaging Dave Cockrum right before Dave Cockrum left X-Men and John Byrne hopped on as the new artist. I'm pretty sure that's the case with that book.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's a little backstory right there. But
yeah,
this is rounded up to 50 cents, Joe, like you told me to do.
Yeah, 49.5 cents. You didn't have a half a penny, so they made you pay 50.
Yeah. You
can go back and get that half penny later.
I think I got gypped, right? Because they said 50% off. Back at you. Did. This is 99 cents.
Yeah, you get that. You go back and you demand your half a penny immediately.
Yeah, I got screwed. God, I wish I had you there with me. Yeah. All right, moving on. We got who do we have? We got Goonish Lurker. He's in the house. I know he's in the house. Oh, come on. Stop. Are you kidding me? This week's Fresh from the Comic Shop, I had the opportunity of making the best use of the psychedelic Spider-Verse backdrop we got at my Alamo Draft House. I get to showcase not one, but two Spider-Man titles I obtained this week, not from a local comic shop, but from a good friend of mine after we saw Across the Spider-Verse. The Amazing Spider-Man number 26, spoiler variant, and Spider-Man number 7. There's something that happens in Spider-Man 7. I can't remember what it is. This photo was tricky because I didn't have the light I wanted, but I had some help from a coworker to make it happen. Hope you all enjoy. I enjoy this quite a bit. I like the setup.
This is so cool.
Very, very, very cool. Like really well done, Goonish. Props to you. I said props. Sorry, it's not the same segment.
This is the wrong segment, dude. You can't say props. Listen, honestly, you owe Chris $5 now. He has that unlock.
Anyways, Drew, I don't want to get into a fight with my co-host here. You're the next best thing. So, what's your third fresh get of the week?
All right, and so this is a book. It's not a single issue. I don't even think it came out in single issues. So I think it is just an original graphic novel that I read all in one sitting the other day, and it made me sad. It was, and if you know anything about me, which I know that you don't because we just met, but being sad is one of my favorite emotions. So I picked up It's Lonely at the Center of the Earth with Thorogood. And this book is so good. It's on, I mean, it's nominated for an Eisner, and there's a reason for it. It's great. It's fantastic.
Can we see the cover again real quick? Nice. That looks like a meaty book too.
You just love British comic creators, don't you?
You know, I didn't even know that she was British until like midway through the book.
Her name is Zoe Thorogood.
I don't know what that means.
So George Thorogood is from Delaware because he's George Thorogood.
That's true. Fun fact about that: my mom was in college when he was like first starting, and he was just like they were like a bar band at University of Delaware. Where my mom was.
They used to play. I used to go to a bar that they used to play at. Not when I was not old enough to drink. When
we're off topic. We're off topic.
Thank you. Moving on, we got Son of Comics. Miles Morales, Spider-Man 38, Unknown Comics, Kirkham exclusive. I'm so happy that Miles is getting the attention that he deserves because he's such an awesome character. Do not sleep on this character with all the success of Miles. It's just the beginning. Guys, it's past the point. The bus has left the station. There's no, like, if you slept on him, you're not catching that bus. Am I right? I mean, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean,
he's the future.
We've
Chris
seen
said it. He's the future.
I teach, I teach high school. Kids at my school don't know about Peter Parker.
That's incredible.
They don't care about Peter Parker. To them, Miles is Spider-Man, and he always has been.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Here's the thing. Listen, comic book prices go up and down. We've seen them go up and down. Ultimate Fallout 4 peaked at over $3,500 for a 9.8. It bottomed out, recently at about $1,500 and has gone up since then and is really hitting $1,800, $2,000 almost no matter what. Obviously bearing, economic disaster. That book in a 9.8, I don't think will ever dip below $1,000 ever again. And there's a decent chance that it will never dip below $2,000 ever again once it breaks that barrier over the next possibly couple months.
I mean, they've already announced. They've already announced that he's going to have. I mean, Amy Pascal, I think, said this recently. Who's a producer? Yeah. She's on all the Spider-Man movies, but she's basically said that Miles is going to have live action coming up. Sooner rather than later. It's going to be interesting because, again, Drew, what you said is an indication of how he is cemented in pop culture now. He is Spider-Man. Like, and Chris said it. Chris just sent out a post, or maybe it was one of his videos, where he said Miles is the future, and I think we're in that right now. I think he's the president at this point because he's just dominating. He's dominating with So, anyways, that's a great cover, though. I do want to bring that up again. I really do enjoy that cover. I can't stand that costume, though. That's the terrible Miles cut. Terrible.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the a costume they should have been in when he was like first starting off.
Yeah, exactly. It's that bad. It's that bad. Wow. Moving on, we got Mark Lineker. What's better than one Batman 291? Two, of course. This isn't just a flex. I forgot I had one. And he has an emoji where he slaps his face. This is the first issue of the classic Bronze Age 4-issue run. Where were you on the night Batman was killed? It features a large assortment of Batman's rogue gallery, plus Lex Luthor. Believe it or not, this is the third appearance of Mr. Freeze, which is crazy. Only the third appearance.
Wow. Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's nuts, because his first two appearances are pretty solid in the middle of the Silver Age.
Yeah, he was because when he first appeared, he was Mr. Zero, right?
Mr. Zero,
and so then they just kind of didn't know what to do with him for a really long time.
So crazy.
So, they just didn't bring him back, and I mean, even then, it wasn't until that episode of the animated series in the 90s that,
giving him the whole backstory with the daughter and the snow globe and all that stuff. That really brought that character to prominence. And then obviously Arnold did something.
That almost single-handedly ruined comic book movies. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Questionable.
No, it did. Joseph, your second fresh get.
Third
fresh get of the week. My bad.
I saved this one for last.
I know it's gonna rub. You're gonna. Well, I know. I know what to expect. I don't know what it is, but I know what to expect.
I didn't tell you that I got this. I wanted you to be surprised, and I want Chris to be surprised. I'm actually really bummed that Chris isn't here, but maybe he'll watch on the playback. I don't know. Do you think Chris watches when he's not on the show?
No.
Or do you think he's too cool for that?
No, he does watch. He does watch.
I'm just kidding. So as my third fresh get, I picked up just an absolutely incredible lot of comics this week. It was only 5 books, all early Amazing Spider-Man issues, including this one. This one is the best, in my opinion, the one that I am the most excited about. Also, probably the most valuable. I kind of got to evaluate the condition and stuff. Check out my YouTube video tomorrow morning that I'm dropping, because I'll go over all 5 books. But this is the one that I am most excited about, so I decided to show that off here today. Amazing Spider-Man number 3. the first appearance of Dr. Octopus. Jeff, how you feeling right now? Jeff disconnected. All right. Well, I don't know if
the book was too powerful, man. It kicked him out.
Yo, what happened there?
You got kicked out.
I couldn't hear your audio, and all of a sudden everything froze. So I don't know what happened there other than this.
Did you see the book?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It looks like it's in great condition.
I mean, it's pretty low grade. I think
presents well. Then
I'm like crossing my fingers that it's a 3 and not a 2.5.
Wow, look at how gorgeous that cover is, though, man.
Yeah, the colors are great. It's just it's got a lot of spine wear and stuff like that.
Still, man,
complete, intact. Like I said, there were 5 books in this lot. Basically, a couple weeks ago, I connected with a guy. I went over his house. He had a bunch of stuff. He was downsizing, maybe like 6 to 7 long boxes worth of stuff. I bought his bulk, just the stuff that he was downsizing. He didn't sell me any like good stuff. It was just bulk. He called me back and he said, "Yeah, I might want to sell some more stuff." And I said, "Let me know." And he calls me the next day. He says, "All right, I just want to sell 5 books, 5 early ASM books. I'm taking my wife on vacation next week. I want to, have some extra money, pay for all that stuff. So come over, buy these books, and we'll talk about the rest later." We ended up making a deal on those 5 books, and he said that he's going to call me back and possibly sell me the rest when he's ready. So,
wow,
that's PC all day. That one is
man. That is a great get. Good for you.
I did not pay $1.
I'm just gonna use this as like a way to tell this story because I think it's very funny. It didn't happen to me, but Steve Ditko, right? Famously, like later in his life, like holed himself up in his house and never left.
Yeah. His apartment in New York. Yeah,
he was like answering fan mail, right?
Yes.
So I have an internet friend of mine out in I believe New Jersey. When he was a child, he wrote to Steve Ditko to be like, "Oh, I'm such a big fan of like your Spider-Man work, blah, whatever." And he got a reply back from him, and the reply is just him. It's just Steve Ditko telling him he needs to work on his handwriting because nobody can read it.
It's really weird that you said this because the dude who I bought this from, he said he's going to slowly get rid of everything and he's going to sell to me. And he told me that the only stuff he's keeping is his handwritten letters to Steve Ditko from when he was young. That's so weird that you brought that up when the guy I got this book from did the same thing.
Apparently, penmanship was really important to Steve Ditko.
Wow.
Yeah, so maybe if we all wrote better, he wouldn't have become such a recluse.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. He wouldn't have started publishing Mr. A.
Oh.
I don't know.
He had some real duds, but that's okay.
But he's left a mark in this world. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Big times. We're not. I know we're not taking that away from him. But
no.
Anyways, that's a hilarious story. Okay, moving on. Nori Jordan, what do you got? Well, I guess I'll just skip Thunderbolts this week and try to get a bit more creative. By the way, Drew, he loves Thunder. He literally has every issue of the Thunderbolts times 5. Like literally owns probably the world, the largest percentage of anybody in this world of Thunderbolt books. I'm not even kidding. So he's skipping this week, the Thunderbolts. I was at a store yesterday with my son and found some nice Thor books for $2 a piece. I don't know much about the series, but I was able to get the first few issues on the cheap, and I know one of them is a $20 to $30 book. Good work. I also picked up the latest Daredevil book in the current series, plus some variants. I will be sad when the series ends in a couple months. On to next week. Take care, everyone. Nice submission there. And okay, so that right there ends. Oh, by the way, this is a good call. I think this is Toby here. Steve Ditko created Marvel Speedball. He was part of. Yeah, that's true. Actually,
there you go. Created a whole lot of characters.
Yeah. So that right there ends the submissions for our audience. Drew, we're going to give you a few moments to kind of collect your thoughts, figure out the top 3, but you got to figure out, you got to know the number 1 for you this week. That will move on to the semifinals. And I'm going to show my last fresh get of the week as you do that. Again, John Byrne. Love this. I love this cover. Fantastic Four 290. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Annihilus. Look, I love the John Byrne era with the dark blue suit too.
Yeah.
So it is quite gorgeous. I love John Byrne. Incredible. Left an impression on me, no doubt. So that right there gave you a little bit of time, Drew. Let's talk here. What do you got? Your top 3. I'll pull them up as you say it.
Okay. I hope that I'm not disappointing anybody. But
I want to interrupt you. That's again the burden you bear.
My criteria is probably different than others. So I'm gonna go number 3 just because it was such a strange book. The Plastic Man.
Sure.
Because it was very unlike anything else that was on the list.
That's well done. It's unique. Absolutely.
I mean, this is like, I don't actually know. I feel like I'm learning something about the history of Plastic Man, that this is not a DC book.
No, it's it's got it up top there. I can't see really what
it's Vital.
A Vital book. Yeah, Mark Lineker may know something about this.
I didn't know that Plastic Man predated DC or wasn't at National Comics or whatever they were calling themselves at the time of his original
Fox Publications or whatever.
Yeah. So that one, just to see something that I didn't know ever existed, is very cool. Number 2, I'm gonna give it to the Darth Vader with the splatter behind it.
Yeah.
Just so I really liked that presentation.
So good.
Very cool. Coordinating, the background to the cover. Number 1. Do you need to do like a drum roll or anything like that?
I am a drummer.
Okay. Number 1, I'm gonna give it to the Miles Morales with the shoes.
I don't have any symbols, but good, yeah, C to the G. Or I'm sorry, Union Josh. I mean,
yeah.
It definitely sticks out. That's a lot of work he put into that. So you can't go wrong with this choice.
I sold shoes for like 10 years of my life. So like that's kind of, it's speaking to my history.
And this is a great issue. Look at this cover too, by the way. It is the third appearance of Miles, first appearance of Gank. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Ganky.
So yeah, it's and obviously, the soundtrack is really good on the first movie.
It's simple, but it works. That's what I like about this one.
I think you did a great job, Joe. I don't know if you have another opinion on that. If you do, you're wrong.
No. I mean, this one definitely was top of the list in my head as well. And that Darth Vader with the splatter background.
Yeah,
the effort put into that, that was close behind. But yeah, this one just it's 3. We got 3 different elements here. We have the comic, we have the soundtrack, we have the shoes.
Yep.
And
you can slip on the Jordans, put on the soundtrack, and sit back and read that book, and you're incorporating all of the things at the same time. It is it's a multi-medium experience.
Yeah. I'd almost say smorgasbord. I just felt like it felt right to say smorgasbord.
There you go.
Drew, well thought. I think you made an excellent decision. That right there ends Fresh from the Comic Shop. Union Josh, you're going to be going up against next week's Fresh from the Comic Shop semifinalist winner, which
not next week.
But there's no show next week. Exactly, because I made this thing here right here that says that there's no show next week. So that's why.
Yes, I confirmed. Literally the next issue, Pa Kent dies.
Okay, you got one thing right tonight. That's good. Good job. Now Drew, we can't go back and change the past. But what we want to do for you is to talk about this video game that you wrote.
Okay.
Joe, Joe. You talk more better than I do with words.
I talk more betterest with words, so I will taking the talk before. Yeah. So yeah, I know. You and I know Bren. What?
Paul's like, wait a minute. Did you take off for Mother's Day?
Did we? I don't remember.
I don't think we did, but we're fathers.
None of us are mothers. You're a father.
So yeah. I mean, you got 2 dogs, so you know.
I have 2 dogs. That don't count.
Anyways, sorry.
So yeah, I know. I don't know much about your involvement with it, Drew, other than both of us know Bren King, who worked on that game and works for the company that put that game out. I've known Bren since we were in high school, maybe even middle school. Long time. He grew up in my area and playing in bands together. So yeah, how did that come about? Was you just your friendship with him?
Yeah, I mean, so I was in a hardcore band called Time and Pressure. He's in a band called Chemical Fix. We did a tour together. We did the East Coast together a couple summers ago, probably like 3-4 years ago now. I didn't know him at all. That was just the way I met all those guys was our bands just met up and played a series of shows together, and then we just became really fast friends. Found out that he is like the art director at a development company called PHL Collective. And, they were kind of like working on smaller things, but like really cool things.
Sure.
And so like I would just ask him lots of questions. Wyatt, who is the bass player of Chemical Fix, he also he composes all the music for their games. So
I didn't even know that.
That's so cool.
So like, I mean, he had these 2 guys who were working on video games, and I just thought that was very interesting. Anyway, fast forward to like December of 2020, in the pandemic, Bren sends me a DM on Instagram. It's just like, hey, I want to have a meeting with you tomorrow. Is that okay? And I was just like, a meeting about what? And it was like him, and then like the creative director of the company, and they were just like, okay, so here's the deal. We pitched to Warner Brothers. We're making a Justice League game for kids, and we know that like a lot about Justice League because of the way that Bren like picked up on my conversations and stuff, and then like I had a TikTok series where I really like dived deep into the characters in the DC universe, and they had seen those, and they were just like, we want you to write the script for the game.
That's awesome.
And I said no at first, because I was just like, the stuff that I write is like really short. I've never done anything long. Yeah. And then they talked me into it. And then, so yeah, I came on board, and starting in around March of the next year, I started working on the full script. And for a while it was just me. And then eventually, cause I teach full time. They decided that they needed to bring in somebody else kind of as a co-writer, to work on things whenever I couldn't get to them, or, so that things weren't piling up, because video games is always about like time management. Yeah. It's very similar to movies in that, like, if, you miss something, then you're losing money, and you're just burning through cash. But yeah. And so, I mean, the basic story, is kind of a combination of like an idea they had, and then an idea I had. A lot of the dialogue is all me.
Really? Because I watched the trailer, and that was like the one thing that I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like just the little quick like quips that they have. I thought that was like perfect to showcase the characters.
What's the game called? I'd love to pop the link in the chat here.
The game is called Justice League Cosmic Chaos. It's available on every console, no matter what you play it on.
Switch, PS5, right?
Yeah, it's on Switch. It's on in America. It's only on PS4, but you get the digital PS5 upgrade.
Gotcha.
I think in Europe they have it on PS5, like on a disc.
You got to be kidding me! I literally just looked at this game with my daughter last weekend to get a new game for her.
Yep, I
looked at it. We ended up getting Kirby, but I just popped the link in the chat here. I'm gonna get this game. That is outstanding.
Yeah, it came down to be. I don't know exactly what the like percentage of like how much of it is like stuff I wrote and how much of it is stuff that Heather, who is the other writer, wrote that like ended up going in, because we like touched up each other's stuff all the time. So,
sure.
But I mean, it's a good chunk of it is just stuff, just ideas that I had of like what I thought these characters would be like in this, you know, for this tone and this situation.
So cool. Yeah. So cool. Like,
isn't it? I like read a brief synopsis and I watched the trailer. So, I'm not a video game guy. It's am I getting this right? Mixes Pitalik is trying to become mayor of a town, and he sorrow on people.
So what happens? The concept of the game is like the story of the game is that the Justice League has not been in Happy Harbor, which is like that's their old headquarters. Was, you know, Silver Age was like Happy Harbor, and they haven't been there in a long time, but they returned there for a celebration because the character Snapper Carr decides that he ran for mayor and he won, and it's like they're in town for his inauguration party, and then Mixie Spitalik shows up and is just like, no, I'm the mayor, and to keep you all busy, here's Starro the Conqueror. You remember him, you know, and like three of the members of certain members of the Justice League get Starro'd, and then they are under his mind control, and you got to save them. And so, I mean, it's definitely like a kid's game,
sure.
But when I was writing it, I had to establish the tone really quickly. And so it was kind of just like, I decided that I was going to approach it like a workplace comedy. Cause like that's kind of what it is. It's a workplace comedy where about a group of people who have a very interesting job. Very similar to like Justice League International from the 80s, like that kind of sitcom tone. I borrowed a ton from Ghostbusters because to me, that's what Ghostbusters is. It's a story about three guys, eventually four guys at work, and their job is just very weird. And so, yeah, I mean, it's got a bunch of extra villains in there that are like, I mean, like I got to write Lobo in it.
Oh, cool.
And Lobo
in a kid's game. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Lobo is the most fun that I've ever had writing a character in anything ever. And like, I mean, there's some stuff that we didn't get to put in it that I really wanted to. Kind of similarly, I really wanted to put John Constantine in there somehow because of the challenge of like, how do you make a character like him kid friendly?
Yeah, that's a challenge.
And I'm gonna DC was just like, no. Nope, can't do that.
Settle down.
And
that's
then, like,
amazing.
We tried to like throughout the game, like you get upgrades that are called artifacts of justice. There's a lot of the theme of the game is that like the Justice League has a legacy. And so like Cyborg's in the game and he's like, he helps you out, but Cyborg's never been to Happy Harbor because he wasn't in the Justice League when they were there. So like there's a lot of kind of the legacy and the history of the Justice League meeting where they are now. And these upgrades are called the Artifacts of Justice because it's like weapons that they have acquired, from battles or, like taken from villains or that were left in Happy Harbor by other members of the Justice League, you know, stuff like that. And they'll give your character certain buffs. And we really got to dive into like the history of different members of the DC universe, at least in some way. I got to throw a Watchmen reference into it that I was really excited about.
Into a kid's game, okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you go to the school, if you find the school in Happy Harbor and you go to the back of it, somebody graffitied on the back of it, who monitors the hall monitors.
Oh my God.
And that's like, I will tell you this, not to give too much away, but there is a joke in the game that I thought for sure DC was just going to say, no, you can't do that. And they didn't catch it. So it's in there.
Oh,
and it is, have either of you read the entirety of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing?
Yes.
No, I haven't read that. Yeah.
So there's an issue of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. It's towards the end when he's like jumping through space.
Sure.
And he accidentally like spawns himself too close to a planet called Technus. It's a very famous issue called Loving the Alien. And the issue is told from the perspective of the planet, which is like a hybrid organic like machine.
Okay, yeah.
And it like attaches to him and it makes babies with him. And the issue is told from the planet's perspective about how much like it loves this creature and, you know, whatever. And it's a really unsettling, creepy issue of a comic book.
Sure.
Because like, I mean, when you really get down to it, like it's not a planet spawning with a person. It's, you know, there's something much more sinister, you know, in the implications there.
Yeah.
And so, so I just wrote like, there's a part in Lobo's bar. They were just like, oh yeah, the people in Lobo's bar need to have, like the aliens there need to have dialogue. The idea is that the bar just kind of like shows up in Happy Harbor, because Mxyzptlk is like messing with, just making stuff show up from around the universe. And so this bar just shows up and it's full of aliens. And one alien just says like, oh man, don't, you know, you ever, that planet Technus, I'd never want to visit there again or something like that.
Those are little Easter eggs for you and other people actually.
There's a bunch of stuff in there. I mean, there's like, there's a whole, I mean, like Lobo talks about the Weaponers of Quard. I made references to like the Challengers of the Unknown. And
oh, nice.
Yo, I'm looking at the comments on this trailer. You are getting a lot of, I'm going to say it again, props. Hold on. There's a great one right here. Sorry, I lost it for a sec. Oh, from looking at the suits and the items, it's clear this game was made by real DC fans. Also, you can have a skateboarding Superman, which is also great, whatever. The costume references are freaking insane. I mean, they reference that moment in which Wonder Woman worked at a fast food restaurant. Now that's dedication. Like, and then there's this. You always have to have a hater. When James Gunn said the games would connect to the movies, this isn't what I expected at all. It's like,
so James Gunn and I have had a conversation about it. We've talked about how this is the future. Like when Superman Legacy comes out, it's going to look like this. I'm kidding. I
was like,
I believe that you did have a conversation with James Gunn, but when you said Superman Legacy, I'm like, no.
No, I've never talked to James Gunn.
Yeah, it's amazing that
he's from here, so like we have that in common.
Interesting.
He and Sean Gunn are from St. Louis. They went to St. Louis University. Jim Lee also from here. His family.
Wow!
All
of DC is
St. Louis has a wild comic history. Chris Somney lives here.
Oh, really?
Matt Kent taught at my university while he was like, getting like really making a name for himself. He taught comic book creation.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Denny O'Neil is from here. That's why the question like has issues that take place in East St. Louis, which is technically in Illinois, but
yeah.
Interesting. This is wow, a rich comic book history. Well,
we have a crazy rich comic book history that people don't pay attention to. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's just you brought up the costumes. Almost every single one of those costumes is a suggestion by me, except the Taco Wiz one. That was Bren actually.
Oh, yeah.
Found the cover and he was just like, "Oh, that'd be hilarious if we did that."
That's so funny.
Yeah, you're getting props on the Easter eggs right here. Some of you may have mentioned from first glance the game was made by people who actually care about the content. So many fun Easter egg items and comics accurate costumes throughout the game. Look at you, man. This is really cool.
I mean, they came to me because they knew that like this was something that I really cared about. That like I care about these characters. And I have like, I mean, I'm not like encyclopedic knowledge of them, but like I know enough about them that like, you know, I can rattle off, oh yeah, like there's a part in the game where they're going to explain what nth metal is, or like when you're in the school, it's, you know, there's a whole, like when they're walking through the school, there's a whole mission that takes place there, and they have a conversation about like all the different characters who are actually teachers in their private life, and you know, stuff like that. And
oh, cool.
You know,
that's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was just we got to do a lot of really cool stuff. There's a few things that didn't make the cut that I really wish had, but yeah.
All right. Final question: will there be a sequel to it?
If there is, I have not heard anything about it.
Okay.
So
well, I'm definitely getting this for my daughter. No doubt about that.
Listen, I have not bought a video game since Final Fantasy X-2 came out in 2003. So we're looking at 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years since I bought a video game. My wife does have a Nintendo Switch, and I think I'm going to have to buy this game.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I've been telling a lot of people the same thing, which is I want you to buy it, not because I make money off of it, because I don't. If you buy it, I don't make a dime. I already got paid for my time.
Sure.
I'm just really proud of what I got to do with it. And I'm very excited. When I was writing it, I worked, I only spoke with people at PHL. So like, but they were the middleman between me and like people at DC did have to approve it.
Sure.
And from what I understand, I mean, like Jim Lee read the script and he really liked it. A few other people, you know, who were higher up there. But the head of DC Interactive, a few days after the game came out, and so then the reviews came in, you know, not to toot my own horn, but the writing was like the thing that was like consistently praised. And so he reached out to me on Instagram and was just like, we like what you did, you know, hope we really appreciate that you had such that it was important to you to include all this lore and like make sure that these characters felt true to themselves, and despite being like exaggerated versions of themselves. And then he was just like, you know, we're going to keep you in mind for other work.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah, I have a little connection at DC. A friend of mine is an editor there and has also done some writing work. So I can drop your name certainly, and you know, the more people that know about you there,
right?
She would be happy to do that. She does like portfolio reviews and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I've got a few friends that I've made through TikTok, honestly, who work or have worked at DC. I've become pretty good internet friends with Kenny Porter, who's, you know, he just did DC Mech, and he did like the Flash prequel comic. He's doing Superman or Superboy. the Connell book that's out right now, and you know, he's a really cool guy, and we've talked about stuff like that before, and I mean, I keep joking. I have a list of things that, like, when I work at DC, these are what I'm going to pitch. But it's not, I mean, it's less joking and more so just like I'm as the witchy girls who listen to female Mac or Fleetwood Mac, say, you know, I'm manifesting my own future.
Sure. Yeah.
There you go. And you said it.
Speak it into existence.
I'm doing, I mean, I got this idea, man. It's so good. It's so good. And it's so unique, and nobody's ever thought to do it before. And if they have, they haven't thought to do it the way that I would do it. And it's, I mean, it's melding like my two loves into one thing. I want to pitch them. I want to do a story, a mini series about a hardcore band.
Should we stop you right there? Because we don't want to give away you don't want to give away your idea.
No, because no one could do it as well as I do.
Okay.
There we go.
It's such a cool idea. Like a hardcore band touring the United States in the DC universe, and what that looks like.
That's dope.
Like, you know, like you're going from Central City, or like, you know,
Sure.
playing a show in Central City, and then like the next night you're in Metropolis, or, you know, it makes more sense that they wouldn't be in Metropolis. They would be in Suicide Slum, playing a basement show. But
sure, yeah.
I love how you literally are thinking, being in the DC universe right now, thinking of geographic, the logistics going on there.
Oh, I've researched this. I've looked at the DC Atlas.
How about also you include a soundtrack to it too? Why not?
I mean,
they did that with a bunch of things recently. What's the Furthest Place from Here? It was a really great indie book that had a soundtrack going along with it.
That'd be amazing. Listen, man,
incredible book too.
This is an incredible story. Your story of how this happened to you. So we're full on supporters of you. I'm psyched to get this game for my daughter, and I'm really upset we did not talk about this at the top of the show. I blame Joe for that, and myself. More Joe. But
you can blame me. I don't care.
No, it's too good of a story. But yeah, we gotta thank you so much for joining us tonight. You did.
Thanks for having me.
Other than your interview, which you failed miserably, you did pretty good here.
Listen, man, let me just throw this out there, okay? I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna have to renounce my St. Louis citizenship because I've already bad talked to the pizza. Nelly sucks. He's not good.
Whatever, man.
Like, he's not even from here. He's from like he's like from like the rich part of St. Louis.
Are you publicly calling out Nelly right now?
Yeah, I am.
You know there's 14 million people watching us right now.
I am.
You are publicly calling out
throwing
Nelly.
down the gauntlet. I'll make him have to wear a Band-Aid for real.
Just wait. You're about to get canceled on TikTok.
For not liking Nelly. The kids on TikTok don't know who Nelly is.
They don't know who Nelly is.
That's scary. All right. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This has been an excellent show. You have made it much better, although it was really hard to get through that interview. But again, I'm going to check out this game. Everybody check out the trailer, Justice League Cosmic Chaos, which Drew wrote. Tons of Easter eggs if you love DC. Joe, do you have any final words for this show this evening?
We are off next week, reminder, but continue to submit for Fresh from the Comic Shop and Props or Flops and Ask Joe, and you can make up your own segment for the show if you want. Submit for that. I don't know if we'll see it, but yeah.
Dan De La Torres, we're talking about, he needs to do a segment too. But I'm serious. We were talking about that. But yeah, until then, look, all you fathers out there, have a great weekend next weekend. Know that you and mothers are celebrated every day. We truly appreciate. Drew, again, thank you so much. We will see you on the 25th, Sunday, the 25th. That will be our next show. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to others. Peace.